She was standing in her kitchen making pancakes when the police knocked on her door, flour on her hands, coffee brewing, kids' cartoons playing in the background. She smiled when she opened the door, and then Detective Ray Caldwell said four words that wiped that smile clean off her face. "We found the body." Her name was Angela Mercer, 34 years old, Sunday school teacher, FEE president, the kind of woman who brought homemade casseroles to sick neighbors and remembered everyone's birthday. She was also, as a jury of 12 people would unanimously agree, a cold-blooded killer, and this is how she got caught. Denton, Texas, March 2021. Population 140,000. The kind of mid-sized American city where everybody knows your name and your business. Kevin Mercer was 38, high school football coach, loved by his players, loved by his community, 6'2", big laugh. The guy who stayed after practice to help struggling kids with their grades. On the surface, Kevin and Angela Mercer were the perfect American couple. Married 11 years. 3 kids. A 4-bedroom house with a basketball hoop in the driveway and a flag on the front porch. But behind that front door, neighbors would later tell investigators things were very different. Shouting matches late at night. A patrol car called twice in 2 years for domestic disturbances, and a life insurance policy taken out just 8 months before. Kevin Mercer disappeared, worth $1.2 million, with Angela listed as the sole beneficiary. Kevin was reported missing on March 8, 2021. Angela told police he had gone for an early morning run and never came home. She cried at the press conference. She cried on the local news. She organized the search parties herself. And for 6 weeks, nobody suspected a thing. The first crack appeared when Kevin's sister, Dana, hired a private investigator. Dana Mercer had never liked Angela, called her a performance, a woman who was always acting the role of perfect wife rather than actually being one. Dana had noticed things over the years, how Angela controlled every dollar Kevin earned, how Kevin had quietly asked Dana for a loan 18 months before his disappearance, despite the couple supposedly doing well financially, how Angela had taken out that insurance policy without telling Kevin's family. The private investigator pulled Angela's phone records. What he found changed everything. In the 2 weeks before Kevin disappeared, Angela had made 23 calls to a man named Brett Colson, a gym trainer from Fort Worth. The calls were long, late night, and they had been deleted from Angela's phone, but not from the carrier's records. When investigators brought Brett in for questioning, he lasted exactly 14 minutes before he broke. Brett told detectives that Angela had approached him 3 months earlier, that she had told him her husband was abusive, something neighbors and colleagues completely contradicted, that she had offered him $40,000 to help her solve her problem. Brett claimed he had refused, but his bank account told a different story. A $15,000 cash deposit made 2 days before Kevin Mercer vanished. With Brett's testimony, investigators got a warrant to search the Mercer property, including the 11 acres of wooded land behind their home that Angela had purchased quietly just 1 year earlier under an LLC. On day 2 of the search, K9 units hit on something near the eastern tree line. Kevin Mercer had been buried 6 feet deep, wrapped in contractor bags, bound with zip ties. The medical examiner determined cause of death: blunt force trauma to the back of the skull, a single strike delivered from behind. He never saw it coming. Back at the house, Forensic teams found trace evidence of blood in the garage, cleaned thoroughly with bleach, but not thoroughly enough. Luminol lit the garage floor up like a Christmas tree. Kevin Mercer had been killed inside his own home, in his own garage, while his kids slept 30 feet away. Here's what made this case deeply disturbing to investigators. Angela Mercer didn't snap. This wasn't a crime of passion. Every step, the insurance policy, the land purchase, the LLC, the approach to Brett, the burial location, had been planned across an entire year. She had sat across from Kevin at the dinner table, packed his lunch, cheered at his football games, kissed him goodbye every morning, while counting down to the day she would kill him. Criminal psychologist Dr. Miriam Holt, who testified at trial, described Angela as displaying classic traits of organized, premeditated violence masked by a carefully constructed social identity. In simpler terms, Angela understood that the best disguise in the world is a good reputation, and she had spent years building hers. The trial lasted 9 days. Brett Colson pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and received 22 years. He testified against Angela in exchange for a reduced sentence. Angela Mercer maintained her innocence through every single day of proceedings. She wore muted colors. She held a tissue. She shook her head slowly at damaging testimony as if none of it could possibly be true. The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 40 minutes. Guilty, first-degree murder. Guilty, conspiracy. Guilty, abuse of a corpse. Angela Mercer was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As the verdict was read, she didn't cry. For the first time since Kevin disappeared, she didn't cry. Kevin Mercer's 3 kids were taken in by his sister Dana. The house on Bramblewood Drive was sold. The basketball hoop stayed in the driveway for months after, until one day it was just gone. Kevin was 38 years old. He coached kids who needed him. He had a big laugh and stayed late after practice. He deserved better than what happened in that garage. And the most terrifying part of this entire story, Angela Mercer looked like the last person on earth who could do something like this. That's exactly why she almost got away with it. If this story hit different, subscribe. New true crime every week. And tell me in the comments, when did you first suspect Angela?